comfortable position. Okay, so you might pull your hair back or move anything out of the way because we're going to palpate along the SCM. So your SCM is your sternocleidomastoid, but it's the way you can say SCM. So bring your left index finger and your middle finger up. This is what I like to use to palpate it. And then you're going to bring your hand behind your ear. And there's a bony process there. So use your left hand. Yeah, and then bring behind your right ear. There we go, yes. There's a bony process there. Do you guys all feel that? It's called your mastoid process. Hence the name, sternocleidomastoid. And this is where it attaches. And where muscles attach, especially this one, it's where they can have a lot of tension. If there's imbalances. This is also your vagus nerve tunnels up right through this space. So anytime we can create more space around here, those communication systems, those signals from the vagus nerve, from the belly to the brain are going to run more smoothly. Yep. So just rubbing around, you're doing good work, so keep doing it. Does anybody feel tense? Feel a little puffy or bumpy? Yeah. Yeah. So now we're going to trace the muscle. It runs down through the side of your neck, and it's kind of like a band-shaped muscle. So then this will be a bit of fascial release. If you can pin the tissues in, so push your fingertips in. And then it's like you're dragging the tissues down. And you should be able to trace them, feel that band. It's going to move more towards the front of your throat as you go down. So I'll turn so you can see. And so it's going to attach at your collarbone, kind of the medial or the middle of your collarbone. Yep, so you're tracing fingertips all the way down. Is anybody having trouble feeling yours? So once you go down to the front of your collarbone, simply relax your hand down and just pause and breathe. Articulate your head side to side a little bit. And see if just even that work makes things feel a little bit more open. A little bit, good stuff? Yeah. So all of that is good. Now you can also go the other direction, which is more of the idea of releasing, right? So if you started down at your collarbone, so use your left hand, index finger, middle finger, feel that band-shaped muscle, and you can kind of press in and glide up and then tilt your head towards that point. So it's going to feel like the opposite of a stretch. And you're gliding like you're pushing those tissues and the muscle up towards the ear, behind your ear.
How much, like?
Pressure?
Yeah.
Let me see the arm.
I'm like one of those like across the wall kind of people, so okay.
About that. And it should feel like you're gliding around.
Do that to me too, because I have a tendency to just
really. And I think a lot of us just are not used to like touching ourselves. But we should. Our hands are electrically charged. It's a fact. And they're very healing. All that feeling pretty good? Yeah. So just doing this is going to help blood flow, lymph flow, neural input, all that kind of stuff. And then always giving some love around behind your ear. Okay, now we're going to do the actual technique. But just that can be really, really good. Okay, so we're going to set up really tall. Actually, let's do it all on the other side, and then we'll do the technique on the other side. So rub around behind your left ear. One side can be really different from the other. And I really like to use opposite hand to ear so that this arm on this side that we're working gets to relax. So like wherever that arm lands, it's supported. So you circle, you get some time there. And then it's like you're gonna pin the tissues in, you're gonna push in, and it's like you're dragging them slowly down towards the medial collarbone. Breathing really deep when you do fascial work is actually really good, like taking in like big, deep breaths. Once you come down to your collarbone, you can kind of go back the opposite direction where you'd release, so you would slightly bend the head towards the side. So it's, again, this is like we're putting slack on the tissues now. We're kind of gathering them up and rooting them towards the ear. Which, if there's like a lot of pain or any kind of nervy stuff, I always start with like just releasing rather than stretching. Deep breath in through your nose. And big sigh out. Good. Let your head come back towards center. You need to adjust your seat at all so you're comfortable, you're able to sit tall and move your hips. Go for it. I'll show you, then we'll do it. So for this, it's going to be another little bit of that MET, that contract and relax, but we're going to move through it. So this is lateral flexion of the neck. I'm just tilting my head slightly to the side. I'm not turning it down. Okay, so it's straight up lateral flexion. And I'm not going where it's really deep or uncomfortable. I'm just going where it's like, okay, I'm tilting my head to the side. I feel a bit of a stretch. It's not intense, okay? The other arm's gonna be dropped down really relaxed. You're gonna inhale really deep. You're gonna hold the breath, and then we're gonna press the head into the hand. And I'm using, same thing we did with the psoas, about 20% of my strength, pressing my head into my hand. So that means this SEM over here is soaking up all this oxygen like a sponge, which is so good. And when it's time to relax, we relax and maybe we ease into the stretch. And if the body wants to go more, which it should, it can, but it doesn't have to. I'll just show you, we're also gonna add on a little upper track release with this too. So as you glide your head to the center and you're holding your breath, you're gonna glide your shoulder up to your ear, tensing out that upper track. When it's time to exhale, we drop the shoulder first, then let the neck open. We're gonna end, this will all be a little series I take us through, but we're gonna end with a fascial glide. So the head's gonna push into the hand, so I'm not cranking it to the side. There's a bit of muscle energy. And I'm gonna start to swirl my head around in some lovely little spirals. And as I come up to this point, if you can think of reaching elbow up when we're unlocking opening side body, it feels good for the head to go back a little bit, it can. This is all about you tuning in, moving where the body wants to go. And this is why I wanted you to be able to move your pelvis, because if you can move the rest of your body as we're pinning and stretching these tissues, this is how we unlock those fascial restrictions. So as much as you can, sometimes it's good to do a hand on the belly so that you can kind of feel it going forward and back, okay? Everything we do should feel good. If you feel any discomfort or pain, it's pretty much always because you're pushing too hard or you're stretching too far. So just back off. Okay, so tall spine, let's relax your arms down beside you and shake them out a little bit. And just to begin with, deep breath in, we'll draw both shoulders up to your ears. Big exhale and drop. Good, so arms are just kind of dangling down by your side. You're gonna bring your left arm up and over, and then just rest your hand above your right ear. And I like to, even when that hand's on the head, feel it there. You kind of press the fingertips in, that's where your temporalis muscle is. And then gently articulate a little bit of lateral flexion. The rest of your spine stays nice and tall. Deep breath in. Hold your breath in as you gently press your head into your hand. Actually move it to center and then glide your right shoulder up to your ear. Big exhale, first let your shoulder drop, then let your neck open. Good. Deep breath in, press your head into your hand, grow tall from the base of your spine to your crown, draw your shoulder to your ear. Exhale, let your shoulder drop, allow the neck to open. One more time, deep breath in. Tall spine, press your head into your hand, glide your shoulder to your ear. Big exhale, let your shoulder drop. Allow the neck to open. Good. Now just press your head back into your hand a little bit. So we've got like a little bit of that muscle energy. You're not in a big stretch. And start to find those little swirls of your head. So you're gonna roll chin into your chest, roll your ear to your shoulder, maybe open the throat. And just roll around, really tune in can let your pelvis rock forward and back. Big sighs are always good, and really deep breaths in. If you want, you can try going the opposite direction. You don't have to, though. When you're ready, you're just going to kind of slowly put your head back on straight. And you'll want to take a moment and center, lengthen through your crown. Release your arm down. Take a pause. Whew. And see if you can just let both arms straight down beside you. I can usually feel the biggest difference in my arms to start. Notice how your arms feel. Even like my right elbow, for instance, and I'm near you, so your right elbow is my left. It feels like my arm extends more, like it hangs more relaxed. So compare one arm to the other, and then compare like top of your shoulders as upper traps, one to the other. And obviously the neck, you can articulate it a little bit to kind of feel. Good. And before we go to the other side, I'll just see if there's any questions or anything. Feel pretty good?
Great.
Yep. All right. Yeah, if you need to adjust your seat at all, go for it. And we'll do the other side. So tall spine. Let's start with that upper trap release on both sides. So just deep breath in, draw your shoulders up. Big sigh out, let it drop. Shake it out a little bit. Your right hand's gonna come up and over. You're gonna rest your hand over on that left side of your head, just above the ear. Kind of press the pads of your fingers in. Gently side bend through the neck. Keep the spine really tall though. Deep breath in, hold your breath as you press your head into your hand, glide it to center, and then glide left shoulder up to your ear. Big exhale, let your shoulder drop, and then see if that neck wants to open a bit more. Inhale, deep breath. Hold your breath, press your head into your hand, glide your shoulder up. Big exhale, let your shoulder drop. Allow the neck to open. One more time, deep breath in. Press your head into your hand. Glide shoulder to your ear. Exhale, let your shoulder drop. Allow the neck to open. Now press your head back into your hand a little bit and start to swirl the head around. Let this be a whole body movement. Let your spine wave back and forth. If you want to go back the opposite direction, you can.
Are you actively still
Pushing head into hand.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Okay. Yeah. That keeps a bit of that muscle energy, which is always going to be safer and help things open. When you're ready, you can kind of slowly put your head back on straight. Release your arms down and take a moment to observe. Maybe shake out the arms or shoulders. Notice how you feel, move the neck side to side, that kind of stuff. Feel free to adjust where your legs are. Comments, questions, concerns? Feel good?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So when you do that on your own, did one side feel tighter than the other? So you are welcome to do a few extra rounds on that tighter side, because it's probably your tighter side. So you don't have, doesn't have to be balanced, doesn't have to be even. When I do this on my own, I usually do like 3 to 5 rounds. I might do a couple extra on one side, and then the swirls, if they feel good, you can just do those as long as they feel good and however they feel best. Good, good? Okay. So, while we're seated, and you can sit another way, maybe let's just move our legs around a little bit. Stretch out your knees, your hips. We'll do the jaw release next. So any comfortable seat. This is also going to be a combination of muscle energy technique and positional release. Does anybody have TMJ? Like diagnosed TMJ? No. We should all be in pretty good shape then. So bring your two little fingers here. We're going to feel our mandibles, right? So if you open your mouth just a little bit and you go back, can everybody find the muscle there? Sorry, it's the masseter, it's the muscle, the mandible's the bone. So you wanna, so I go back a little bit more. Let me see.
You want us to find the...
I want you to find the muscle, the masseter is the muscle, sorry. You should feel, it's a small muscle, but it's the most powerful muscle in your body, pound for pound. Go back here a little bit more. So it's above. You mind if I poke around a little bit? So she open your mouth a little bit. Right there. You feel that? Yeah, that's it.
I know. Where is she?
Yeah. You look like you're a little forward. A little help. Open your mouth just a little bit. Feel that? Yeah. Good. So kind of right in there. Taylor, you might bring your hands down just a little bit. Good. Just doing this is good medicine. Does everybody, do you feel like one side's maybe more tender than the other?
Is it right over where the joint, in the joint?
It's kind of back, like if you think of like where your wisdom
Right.
teeth are, like you're like back there. And the joint, you know, you've got above and below.
Right.
You've got your mandible down here.
So it's in between?
Yeah, it's right in between the two. Yeah, right in there. Okay. Yeah. So just doing this. This is actually a release that I've been doing more lately. So sit up tall. Take your hands off because we're gonna kind of untwork. So this is how it's gonna look. And I'm gonna mirror you because we all tend to have the same twerking patterns because of gravitational pull and pressure. So your right fingers are gonna kind of point back and your left one's gonna point forward. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna push in, yeah, and swivel them down. Like you're twisting muscles. Yeah. Now do that. And so you won't actually move the hand forward. So this one's still going to be back on the masseter, but it's going to be.
This one's. This way. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And then you're going to go down. So your hands are down. So it's like you're twerking. So you're just going to stay down. And now breathe. And move your body a little bit. Deep breaths. Good. One more time. Release that. So the more you get used to touching your body, your face, and working with these tissues, you can just do this kind of thing and like swirl your head around, maybe glide up or down, anything that feels good. But this is a muscle, and like I said, in your body, pound for pound, it is the strongest muscle. And when we feel tense, and when there's tension in our hips or the psoas, there will be tension here. It's just the neuromuscular connection. This can cause, you know, a whole cascade, obviously, of headaches and tension down through the sides. Does anybody feel something already? Just like feel your face. My face already, I was just like, oh, my face feels really warm and good. So I was like, does anybody else feel that? Yeah. So are we clear on that? You guys want me to walk you through it one more time? Why the torquing, the different directions?
Yeah.
So again, this is me kind of throwing some human garage stuff out at you. But we have atmospheric pressure on our bodies at all times. That's something that a lot of things haven't taken into account. So we always have this bit of atmospheric pressure, and the earth is always rotating. So we're always in this little state of counter rotation against that. And so what they found is that in North America, we have a direction of our counter rotation, and then when they work on people from Australia, it's the opposite. Yeah.
And so it was right facing
Yeah, yeah. I'll send you links on videos of them teaching you how to do this, because they teach it really well. There's a whole like face exercise that you can do that I've been doing daily, and it's really good. So again, I'm trying to, if I were to mirror you, then bring your right hand so the fingertips are pointing back. Yeah, and you're right in the masseter there. And then your left fingertips are going to point forward. And you're going to pin the tissues. And then you're going to swivel them down. Swivel your hands down. So you're still pushing in, and you should feel what you're doing is you're untorquing your body. It feels like you're torquing it, but you're untorquing it. Good. And then if you can breathe deep and move in any way, it's good to do this when you're standing and just like move around. Good stuff, right? So again, I'll send you the video where they guide you through. They'll guide you through the breath and like the exact ways to do it. This feels good though, doesn't it? And then here is the positional release way to do it. So this had a huge impact on my jaw, and I felt like I got a new mouth after I did this for the first time. So you're gonna let your jaw hang loose. You're kind of let it relax down. That's the first step. Use your same little index finger and middle finger. Use your left hand on the left side of your jaw. So you're gonna relax it down. And so to stretch this muscle, you slide your jaw to the right. And it's just a gentle slide, we're not forcing it. So it looks like this, we look really cool. We stay nice and relaxed. And maybe you feel a little stretch on the left side. Does everybody feel that? Even if it's just a little bit. Yeah, so don't force it. So if we can't make it move, then here's what we're gonna do, is NET for this, right? So as you slide to the side, you would inhale, hold your breath, and just really subtly press your jaw into your fingertips. Like kind of back towards center. So now you're contracting it. And then as you exhale, maybe it opens more to the side. We're not forcing anything. Okay? You can play with a couple rounds of NET. And then on your own, and if you can stay here, I know it's hard if you need to yawn or things like that, if you can stay relaxed and get here and hold that for about that 60 seconds, that's the positional release part. So when you're doing this, this side's getting a release, this side's getting a stretch. They're both really good for the mandible. So if you can hold that for a few deep breaths, staying relaxed. Focus and imagine that your inner ear was opening. Like you could breathe directly into your left ear and out of it. Notice any sensations of warmth or blood flow, tingling, any of that kind of stuff. And then you can release when you feel ready. Take a little pause, maybe open and close the jaw. Feel difference between one side and the other? Yeah, it's crazy, right? We never think of like stretching our jaw. We just go, oh, it's tense and it hurts. Okay, so let's do the other side. Does anybody have any questions? Does that all make pretty good sense? You guys looked like you were doing it right.
The blood, so when you're pushing,
You're contracting, you would be contracting your left side.
right?
And you hold the breath. And then when you exhale, you relax.
So it's almost like you almost feel that.
Yeah.
When the blood goes out of when your foot goes to sleep and it comes
Yeah,
back in.
yeah. Feeling blood flow, tingles, weird sensations are all really good. Okay, so we'll do the other side. So you relax your jaw, and then you're gonna slide towards the left. It might be different than the other, and again, we really never want to be forceful with stuff like this, right? Really gentle. Inhale, hold your breath. Gently press your jaw back to the right. And it's just that, that lower part of the jaw pushing back. And as you exhale, you relax. And maybe it'll slide a little bit more to the left. You don't force it. If you like the MET, you can do that a couple more times. If it doesn't feel great and you just want to hold the stretch, you can. Stay grounded in your hips and your foundation. Notice if they're tensing at all. They're connected to the jaw, so really think of softening through the hips. Breathe like you could breathe right into your right ear. Imagine it opening. And just whenever you feel complete, you'll come back to center. You can open and close the jaw a couple times.
I can feel something really all of these over here.
That's
so
awesome.
crazy.
Yeah, that's all good stuff. It's definitely all connected. So, really being tuned in, and when things release in other areas of the body, you can certainly go give them some love too. Just putting your hands, on here kind of throughout the day, rubbing around. You can use the heels of the hand. For me, I had a ton of tension here. That was contributing a ton to my headaches. So it took me doing this daily for about 3 or 4 months, and I just never have jaw pain or tension anymore. If it ever does come up, then I do that and I can get rid of it pretty quick. But that's one of those pathways that might have been there patterns for a while, so it might take just doing that work, right? So I know we all look like that. It's really good to do. It's good stuff. Any questions? Good. Okay. I bet you guys also relaxed. Okay, one more thing while we're seated is the thyroid little reset. Again, this is a human garage thing, and I went back and forth with sharing or not, but I just feel really compelled to share. So we're going to. It's super simple, and I'll also send over their info so you can get it from them. They have a whole organ reset that I've been doing daily, but the thyroid's big. So you're gonna bring your, you're gonna bring your right hand up to the back side of your neck. And let your thumb kind of anchor towards the front. So this is more to let the back of your neck feel supported. And we've also just got a hand on both sides. Again, our hands are electrically charged. And that's what we're kind of using here to reset the thyroid. So the thyroid's an organ that it's gonna respond to this electrical charge. So you're gonna bring thumb and your index finger and middle finger. And you just wanna feel like you're kind of grabbing at your Adam's apple. So it's like right in the center of the throat. Sometimes you can feel your thyroid if you swallow, go up and down. It's that butterfly-shaped organ. Go up a little bit higher. Yeah. Swallow. Let your head kind of rest in your hand. And what you're gonna do is just slightly pin the tissues in and drag them up towards the base of the throat. You're not squeezing really hard. You're not doing anything to make your nervous system uncomfortable. And now you're gonna take 3 really deep sips of air through your mouth. So here you go. Good, and then exhale. And then 3 of those through the nose. Exhale. 3 more through the mouth. Three more through the nose. Exhale. Now just breathe in deep through the nose. slowly down. And keep just pulling those tissues up, deep through the nose. And slow through the mouth. One more time. Good. Go ahead and release. Take a moment to observe. Sometimes you could feel a little lightheaded. Any of those things are actually really good because we've changed the pressure in the body. Good. Anybody feel anything weird or cool, interesting? Good stuff. I always feel a lot of warmth whenever I do this.
But a little bit of lightheadedness, like it's
It's
right
a pressure
here.
change. Yeah. Do you feel like any
A
pulsing?
little bit.
That's good. It's all good. Usually they recommend taking like a little walk, or you just kind of move or deep breaths until that kind of settles in a little bit more deeply. Wanted to see if there's anything else I wanted to say about that. Yeah, so we only have 3 organs that pump: our heart, our stomach, and our bladder. But we've got all these other organs that they need to move to and have the right type of pressure changes to function properly. And so things, we can have tension in the throat, and so things can get a little stuck there. So that's kind of the intention behind it all. All right, so we had neck stuff, we had throat, jaw, between the shoulder blades. Let's do a little releasing there, and then we have low back stuff, right? Good. Okay, so when it comes to the space between your shoulders, the upper back, that tends to be an area of the body that's actually overly stretched, right? And so whenever it's painful and it's bothering you, what do we tend to do? Stretch it. yeah. So positional release, right, is the opposite of that. So you've got your rhomboids, that's the deeper layer, and then your middle trapezius that go above that, so they're overstretched. So how would we release them? We bring the 2 ends closer together, which would be stuff like this. But that's contracting, we're having to work to do it, right? So to actually release and reset those tissues, we need to support the body. Not to say that the next step isn't contracting and strengthening there. That's like long term. The stronger those muscles are, the more they're gonna hold us upright and support us. So we're gonna use our blanket again, but in a somewhat different way, and these blankets work even better for this. So grab your blanket and have it, mine is folded weird. Whenever you get your blanket, we've got like a long edge in front of you. I'm gonna let you use mine here. Just so I like it better. I'll get you another one.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's gonna go in kind of some tighter folds all the way down. Similar to what we did before, but it's gonna be a little bit longer, if that makes sense. It's gonna feel a little bit different. Not quite as wide. We'll see how this feels on your, actually, Teresa, you might try that bolster that you've got behind you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Instead of a blanket.
Yeah, just because, let's see how it feels, because I know it was bothering your back before, but
Oh, right.
we've been doing some work, so maybe it'll feel better.
Okay.
We shall see. So you'll take the fringe side away from you, like this. You're gonna lay your spine across that. Yeah, just how we did before. Yep. You won't be sitting on it. I think yours is a little long. Let me look down here. How's that feel, Teresa?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. That means something shifted. Let's see. Sometimes when they get folded up, they get the wrong way. There we go. I'm not picky about your blankets at all. Not one. shoulders. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah? So you're already putting yourself in a bit of a positional release for that. You can bend your knees and plant your feet. Try that. And also just try extending your legs and do whatever feels best. Take a moment to settle in, to feel the blanket beneath your spine. Deep breath into your heart space. And slow breath out. Float your arms up for the ceiling in a really relaxed way. Your palms are going to face one another, all the way up towards the ceiling. Yeah. And have your hands about shoulder distance apart. So if it's comfortable, bring your arms up towards the ceiling. Like lift them up. There you go. Palms facing one another. Feel the space right at the back of your heart. And you're somewhat going to ground down there. So we're going to move a little bit first. So you're going to root down and then reach your arms up for the ceiling. So that's actually shoulder blades moving away, which is fine. And now exhale, let gravity pull your shoulders down into their sockets. Good. Inhale, reach up. Shoulders gently draw away from your spine. Exhale and relax the shoulders down. You should feel them draw together and kind of squeeze around your blanket. Inhale, reach up. Root down through the back of your heart. Exhale, let the shoulders drop down. Keep going with this. And notice how your shoulder blades are moving across your back body. Maybe they're moving a lot, or maybe they feel a little sticky. So the shoulders are like a sliding joint. They should glide across the surface of the ribs. But sometimes the soft tissue, the fascia, gets a little sticky, and that can really contribute to that discomfort between the shoulder blades. So just mobilizing the shoulders is good medicine. You want to do this without tension, so be okay if one side isn't moving quite as much as the other. Now the next time your shoulders are rooting down, turn your palms to face forward. And keep this sense of rooting the shoulders down slightly as you wave your arms back overhead just to a place that feels good. Deep breath in here. Exhale, pull your belly in and imagine your core doing the work to lift your arms back up. So your arms feel kind of light. As you inhale, float your arms back overhead just to a place that feels good. Let your ribs expand, gently tuck the chin in. As you exhale, pull your belly in, pull your ribs together, and then press the arms up. If we're doing this from the core, the arms and shoulders should feel pretty light. Let's do that one more time. Deep breath in. Before you lift your arms this time, give that pause, that Anusambhidsa. Engage through the belly and then slowly lift your arms. Palms are going to face one another now. As you inhale, we're slowly going to open the arms out wide to T, where they're just about in line with your blanket, and you're going to kind of squeeze the shoulders around the blanket. As you exhale, reach back up. So again, imagine kind of how we're doing that. Contract and relax. As you inhale, the arms open, we contract, squeeze the scapula together. As you exhale, relax. Reach the arms. And then next time your arms are opening out towards T, we're going to pause here. Ever so much, let the chin tuck in towards the chest. And hold with the shoulders kind of squeezing in around your blanket. Deep breath in. Big sigh out, let your arms just drop heavy to the floor, and then consciously relax that space between your shoulders. Move your awareness into your heart. As you inhale, dropping from the head to the heart. Allowing your chest to soften. Allowing your heart space to be fully supported by a blanket. Now notice, do a little scan across your face. Soften the jaw, the sides of the skull. Think of softening the ears. The sides of your throat. Imagine the walls of your throat becoming softer. And instead of being like walls, they're more like curtains that flow and move with the breath. If your throat starts to tickle, that's really good. Means your throat chakra's opening a little bit. And soften any walls around your heart. And allow your heart to move and breathe. Again, just like curtains would flow. And softening the front of the heart, sides, and the back of your heart space. And see if you can feel the beating of your heart.
I know this is a funny question, but what does your heart feel like? Is it, mine is more of a,
I think it's gonna always feel different, and sometimes the more sensitive we get, it might grow. It can be like a throbbing, it can be really soft. I think that's gonna be different for everybody, but for me, the more I get into my heart and my body and I give it time, I'll start to feel that pulsation get stronger, and it'll grow even into my arms, maybe into the palms.
thank you.
Again, it's still a little quiet. That's just a greater awareness that you have now, and a practice for you to cultivate. Let's just find a couple rounds of tension release breath before we move here, if that's comfortable for you. I'll guide you through it. As you're ready, you'll inhale through the third eye, down the throat into your heart, holding the breath and saying, I deeply wish to surrender all negative tension. As you exhale, you can allow that tension to pour out your arms, your fingertips. When you feel complete, you can maybe flick out the fingertips, brush your arms off. Take your time, moving really slow and gentle. Roll to one side. Slowly make your way up to seated. Coming in a comfortable seat. And then take a moment to feel your foundation. Drop your awareness down. Feel the breath moving through you. You can put your eyes open. So there's a lot of different things that you could do with your arms, with working with those shoulders. And I'll usually move a bit before I just kind of drop right into the idea of positional release. I used to just drop into it, but so much more I'm finding that movement beforehand is really good medicine. Did anybody feel like their shoulder blades were a little sticky? They're reaching up and down, feel a little sticky? Yeah. So if that feels sticky, it means that's good work for you to do. Just try to do it without creating tension. And when this doesn't move, we might not notice it in life because our body wants to move. It's always going to compensate. So just watch when you do it. A lot of times when this doesn't move, people will bend their elbows or try to move other things, which that creates those patterns of tension. So it's like even if it's a little movement, just be happy with that, and it will open the more that you do that.
Mine moved, but right underneath that shoulder blade, I could feel every time I came down, I was coming down on a mass almost. It felt like.
Yeah. So what can happen in our fascia, which is kind of leading into what we're going to be talking about, whenever our fascia has not been moving, if you look at the body movement section, and we're going to roll the low back and some more hip stuff into our rolling practice was my thought. So we'll get to that hip stuff. But briefly, I'm going to go over this and then we're going to go into our rolling practice. If there's any other way you want to sit to be comfortable, feel free, okay? So, our fascia is everybody somewhat familiar with fascia? I know I've been throwing that word out there a lot, and it's a buzzword these days. So it's our connective tissue. So we think of it as like a tissue a lot, but it's also a fluid. So every cell in our body has fluid around it. It's called the interstitial fluid. It's actually how we evolved from a single-celled organism to a multi-celled organism over, I forget how many years, billions and billions of years ago. We were one cell, right, cyanobacteria, and for one cell to split into two, it needed a fluid, a substrate to grow into. And that fluid is our fascia, right? So it can also have fibers in it. They're collagen fibers or elastin fibers. But Sometimes we forget about the fluid nature of our fascia. And that fluid is a substrate of communication. That's how our cells are communicating with each other. And floating around in that fluid are other little things that go and they make this or that based on if this fluid is moving or if it's stagnant, right? We know all of this, like motion and movement is medicine, but I think it's really nice to, I just like cellular stuff, so I think it's interesting to think about sometimes. So the more that we can move in a fluid way, the more, they've actually studied the cells and they take different shapes and they're healthier cells whenever they've been moving. So to your point, whenever you could feel like maybe like a mass or like there was something that you were bumping up into, what happens whenever our fascia, and it's not because you have been just sitting on your butt for the last 20 years, I know you're moving around and you're doing stuff, but areas of our body, whether there's been an injury or trauma or whatever, or just a pattern that we picked up from the way our parents walked or sat, maybe it's not moving the right way, like I've been saying all day, our bodies are intelligent, it's gonna compensate, something else is gonna move for it, okay? So this hasn't been moving for a long time, everything else is moving around it. The next tense now, this is tense or whatever because it's doing the job that it's not necessarily intended to do. And so when something hasn't been moving, that fluid starts to crystallize. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that where you get the crunchy, crackly?
Yes,
feeling?
that's exactly it. Yeah. And the crystalline nature of our fascia is actually just like a, a quartz crystal. Like we're just very much all a part of nature, yeah. But we don't want to become hard like rocks, right?
No.
Like it's cool to think about, but really we want it to be fluid and glidey. And so the more consciously we can be aware of areas of our body that aren't moving, and then we just move them with intention through all their ranges of motion that feel really good, and we move in different patterns and pathways, we can unlock that and bring in more hydration and fluidity. I know it's like a lot of information I just threw out there at you, but yeah, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. So this substrate is called your extracellular matrix.
What page are you
My pages are off. Are we on page 8?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So when I'm talking about the fluid nature of your fascia, that's your ECM or your extracellular matrix. It's the ground substance of our fascia. It's how everything kind of communicates. And it does a lot. Whenever it's working and working properly, it's going to remove those toxins, it's going to bring in new nutrients, it's going to do, everything's just going to work and communicate better. Yeah, so you can read here, transporting nutrients, playing a role in tissue remodeling, inflammation, and lymphedema. Interstitial fluid is vital to, what does it sound right? Vital to maintain healthy tissues. So just moving in different ways, which is why we're going to roll. Because a lot of us are yogis, right? When we get on our mats, we might tend to kind of do the same things that we've been doing, which is a lot of forward folding, which is a lot of, we tend to do a lot of flexion and extension because that's what we're good at, just because we're humans, right? But getting into our sides and spiraling more is going to get into some more of those nooks and crannies, which rolling from your belly to your back, from your back into your belly, should start to awaken and invite. So like I mentioned before, the process that we go through as infants, when we're born, we don't have fascial lines or these coherent chains of muscles and soft tissue that work together. They get formed by learning to hold our head up. That's what starts to form our back line of tissue. A lot of people are pretty familiar with the superficial back line. It says interconnection from the bottoms of your feet, runs all the way up to your forehead. So I'm not going to go into every little bit of the fascial lines. If you're interested in fascial lines over a 300-hour, you will learn about every little bit of it. But if you can just imagine these big swaths of muscles and tissue and getting them to work together as a team, all of our movements are going to work a lot better. And so that's how babies learn to hold themselves upright. And then what do they do next? they can hold their heads upright. They start to kind of roll to a side, right? And they do that for a little bit, and they might use a leg or use an arm and do whatever, and they're working so hard. So then they're forming their lateral line of fascia. And then they go over to their bellies and back and forth, and then they crawl. Crawling is so important. So if you can start to get down on the floor and roll around like a baby and crawl around, you can start to reawaken a lot of deep support that we lose from then sitting in chairs and all the other things that we do as life goes on. So the other great thing that rolling is going to do is we're on the floor. We've got this pressure of the earth or the floor, which rolling is so wonderful to do outside in your backyard, like on a blanket or something. But it's going to hydrate the tissues from that gentle compression. It's like wringing out a sponge. And again, we tend to think we need a lot of pressure to get like the good effect, but even if it's just this little bit, your tissues love it, and they're going to feel really good. So you guys want to roll?
Yeah.
Yay! So if you'd like, you can spread a blanket out. Just move. You're not going to need your blocks. I don't think you're going to need your bolster. I want to do this all pretty bare bones, because then when you do it on your own, you're more apt to do it if you don't have to drag out a bunch of stuff. In my bedroom, I do it on a quilt that my great-grandmother made. It's just nice to like find your favorite blankets, and a really like nourishing place to do this type of work. So I'm going to have you take your heads facing me so that when you roll to your bellies, you can see Mom. The front of the room. Where's Mom? What are we doing? Good. So take a moment, come to your back, and the reason why I said we'll kind of use this as a way to release low back and hips is my low back and hips always feel pretty great after this, so we'll see how everybody's feeling. Stretch yourself out, just let yourself take up space. Isn't that nice? Get a whole big swath of ground and earth to roll around on. Do like a big snow angel starfish shape and breathe out into that space. Deep breath in through your nose. A big sigh out. Nice and slow, draw your right knee into your belly and release your hands across your knee. And we're just going to start with gently rocking your right knee side to side. And let yourself start to kind of roll a little bit. Be kind of playful, like you're going to fall over to your right. Like you're going to kind of fall over to your left. Start to draw some bigger circles in your hip. You can open your left arm out beside you to T and just roll your hip around and it's sunk. Go one direction and back the other. Go ahead and set your right foot down on the floor. And you're going to tuck it kind of towards the back of your left thigh and knee, if that makes sense. Walk around and make sure the well kind of gets tuck it. Just a little bit kind of under it, yeah. Yeah. And now your knee's still pointed up towards the ceiling. Your right knee's still pointed up towards the ceiling. Left leg's extended, right knee's up, yep. And you're going to use your right knee, kind of like a little pendulum, rocking side to side. Yeah. Now, a lot of you guys just started flopping that leg around. Just going through the motions. Yeah, you started it and then everybody else did it. So remember, Anusambhitsa, right? Take a little pause. Feel into what you're doing. Go ahead and stretch your arms out really wide. And we're starting small, and we're gonna let this build, this process of creation, right? Feeling maybe the natural urge to twist a little bit more each time.
Are we keeping the left leg rooted or like?
No, you're gonna let it start to roll.
Okay.
Yeah. So at first you kind of rock the knee in and out, and then again when you're feeling that urge, this left leg is gonna need to fire a bit, especially your glutes, and then you're gonna reach your knee across a little bit. Yeah. Good. And then go back and forth like that. Yeah. And with that foot down on the ground, kind of similar to how we twisted earlier, remember? It can give you a little something to reach from so that you can feel this is actually working with your spiral line. It's this fascia and soft tissue that spirals around your body like a double helix. And you just kind of continue to feel that urge to maybe reach out and twist a bit more. So you would just be twisting to this side. So other way. Yeah, so you're just gonna go from here, kind of feel that, and then come back. And stay a bit more grounded with that open, and then come back. Yeah. And when you go, think of reaching at a bit of a diagonal. Okay, yeah, good. Now, if you do this slow and with intention, this can start to unravel that tension through the low back, kind of around like a side joint, low back, and that outer hip. You guys feel that? Especially as you're going, yeah, on that right side.
Does that eventually come up off of?
Yes, it does. Yes, because it wants to, right?
Are we pushing with the right foot?
You're pushing off your right foot and you're reaching to the side. And are we all feeling kind of that natural urge to go further? Yeah, yeah. So it's like you give this time. And when you start to feel the natural urge to go further, we've got to get your top arm out of our way. Actually, I liked what you just did. So keep your arms out to T, and just, you're gonna roll, pick up your right arm with you, and roll and reach over to your left. Yep, and then come back out to center, just like we did at the beginning of kind of class. Yeah. Now everybody move slower. Move really, really slow. And feel into a sense of grounding into your foundation as you're going, right? And feel how when you root, you're more supported. Do you feel that? Especially if you fire your left glutes a bit. They root and support you as you roll to the side. Okay, now the next pathway is going to be ending up all the way on your belly. So to do that, we've got to get your left arm out of your way. So you're going to reach your left arm straight back overhead. Right arm's going to be out to T. Left arm reaches straight back behind you, Deborah. There you go. Good, good. Deep breath in. Big exhale, slow motion. Twist yourself to the side. Your right hand's going to lift up and it's going to land on the floor to help catch you, but you're going to roll all the way to your belly in the most fluid way possible. Good. You're going to land on your belly, slide your arms out where you feel comfortable. Good. Did that feel a little clunky or awkward at all? Just a little bit, yeah. So we're going to move back and forth through that pathway so we can kind of reach from it. So I'm going to guide you here. So you're going to have your left arm still out in front. Bend your right knee, plant your right hand. Just like you would for Cobra. Yeah. And just move slow, don't be in any rush. Really slowly roll your left ear to your left arm. Start to peel your right knee up and reach your toes back, searching for the floor. Let your hips spiral open and slowly land on your back without setting. Float your arms back overhead. Let your right knee float open to the right and like a little supine tree pose. Deep breath in. We'll go through that pathway again. So you're going to pull the belly in to help you lift your right knee up towards the ceiling. Push off your right foot Lift your right arm, look up and roll to your side. You're gonna plant your right hand down and slowly land on your belly. Come all the way down. Bend your knee. Float the knee and the toes up, roll left ear to left arm. The head's really heavy. Just slowly roll yourself open. Put your right arm back behind you. Float your right knee open. Draw your knee up. Wave it across your body. Lift the head and shoulders. Plant your right hand down. Roll into your belly. Good. Keep going. Anybody having any questions? You guys are doing really good. And again, like when I started my rolling practice, it felt awkward at first too. So, the more you can cinch in around your waist and you can pause before you move, that's going to give time for the deep core to come online, which is going to support you, making your movements fluid and smooth. The next time that you land on your belly, we're going to take a little pause in a sleeping frog position. So you're going to let your right knee slide out and up towards your hip. You're going to slide your hands underneath your forehead for support. Shift, wiggle, adjust. So if it feels good, bend your right knee. Yep, there you go. And then just slide it out, yeah. And it just where it feels really comfortable. It doesn't have to be super deep or anything. Everybody pretty comfortable where we landed? Again, after all that kind of rolling around, you can notice how good stillness feels in the body. Return to that awareness of horizontal breathing. Breathe out to your sides. Soften, melt back down. Stay connected to your breath. Slow breaths out through the mouth. Now here is where we can really release those glutes that like to grip. So check in. And if you've taken your knee up a little too high, sometimes the glutes won't ungrip. So you might shimmy where your knee is. You can also kind of like adjust where the foot is, adjust how the shin is resting. All these little refinements can do a lot of good. And then consciously communicate with your glutes. Send a signal. Feel the support of the floor beneath you. And as you exhale, let your pelvis get really heavy. And we'll return now to that deep diaphragmatic breath where we're breathing down into the pelvic floor, allowing it to expand and open as you inhale, softening as you exhale. Let your legs get heavy. For a few rounds, you might exhale through the mouth, slow and steady. Find one more really conscious breath here. And slow breath out. As relaxed as you can, just slide your right leg back in line with your hip. Take a little pause and just rest your forehead down on your hands and kind of wag your tail a little bit. Breathe into your belly. Feel into your right side. The right side of your glutes, your hip, your leg. And compare that to your left. And lift through your forehead. Gaze out in front. Slide your left arm straight back out in front. I'm going to guide you through this because we're not going to go straight to your back. We're going to roll on your side a little bit. So slide your right hand back to frame your heart, just like we would for a cobra. And now bend your right knee and point your toes really strong. We're going to take a pause with the forehead down. You're going to inhale, press your right knee down into the earth. And then exhale, lift your knee and your thigh up, lift your forehead too. Yeah, beautiful. Now really slow and controlled. Again, we need the deep core and line to help us. You can use your right hand. You're gonna roll left ear to left arm and we're gonna balance on your left side. So slide your right hand in a little bit closer to help. And we're not gonna take this right foot to the floor quite yet. So with the heel pulling towards the glutes, you can kind of reach that right knee out to a bit of an angle so you feel the quads and the hip flexors opening. And again, using this right hand for support, you're gonna let yourself roll forward a little bit, like you're almost gonna roll to your belly. And then let yourself roll back a little bit, like you're almost gonna go to your back, but you're not. Just letting yourself roll forward and back so you're massaging across the entire lateral line of your body. It's another one of those fascial lines interconnected from outer ankle all the way to the sides of the neck. So breathe into your side body. And when we ground into what's beneath us, we're more supported. When you move slow, it's going to force the deep core to come online, providing more support. Think of cinching in around your waist. And we're probably all really feeling that urge, right? To reach our foot back and rest it on the floor. So when you're ready, follow that. Kind of listen to your natural urge. What I like to do is slowly touch the very top of my big toe down. Like I'm dipping it in water, and then slowly swivel the hips open so I can rest my heel all the way to the floor. And then you can either just lift and lower the heel. So you continue to roll. You can lift and lower the foot. You can also keep the foot planted and wave your knee around a little bit. So again, this is all your own experience. The more that you tune in, you can follow the pathways that are going to serve you best right now. Now I want you to find a somewhat balanced place on your side body, because we're going to pause here before we go to your back. Letting your arms support your head. If the arm feels uncomfortable at all, you can always slide something underneath your head and slide your arm forward. But then we'll bring your right arm straight up for the ceiling and really slowly let it drape overhead. Let your elbow bend so that we're opening our sides here in the most relaxed way possible. If your arm feels uncomfortable overhead at all, you can plant it out in front of you a little bit. So shift, wiggle, adjust, do a little fidgeting. And breathe into your sides. Jimmy, what you might do is let your hips swivel a little bit more so your foot can rest all the way down. That'll help you feel it's not quite that much out there. Does that feel okay? Okay, yeah. Good. Just with the foot on the ground, the body will feel a little more support in it. Breathe into your side, that horizontal breath. One more deep breath into your side. One more slow breath out, and then you can slowly let yourself roll to your back. As you roll to your back, you might want to fidget a little bit, straighten the body out. Maybe it would feel good to pull your right knee in, maybe both knees. Just see what your body needs. And then stretch yourself out again into your big snow angel. Breathe. Expand from the core of your body out to your limbs. And then just soften. Notice how the body feels. Really, we did a lot for both sides as we roll. That's what's great about it. It's like a whole body movement. But maybe one side feels different from the other. Just notice how you breathe, how you feel. As you're ready, you can set for the other side if there's any adjusting you need to do at all. But you'll just bend your left knee to start, and you'll kind of nestle that foot up towards the back of your right leg like we did before. If your right leg's opened out to the side, just slide it in line with your hip. And then start moving really slow, waving your left knee open and drawing it back towards center. Let your movements be really small to begin with. So as you're opening your left knee to the side, I want you to keep your right hip and leg grounded. That's going to start to awaken the knee core. So it's not like you're going to let everything kind of lean to the left. You're going to stay grounded through the right side. And then we just start to feel maybe that natural urge to maybe push off of the left foot a bit and reach your left knee over to the right and maybe slightly down. There's a bit of an angle there that if you can find, then we can get into, again, that spiral line. So if you can imagine the pathway, I'm not going to describe the whole spiral line, but visualize your right low ribs, and it crosses your abdomen to the belly button, and then all the way over to that left outer hip. And then it runs down the outside of your leg through that IT band towards the knee, and crosses the shin and wraps to the inside of your foot, which is super cool. Think about working with all of those areas of body together. So with arms out wide to T, that'll somewhat help you to ground. Once you feel ready to reach a little bit more to one side, Remember practicing that Anusanditsa, that little pause, giving the body time to organize itself, to get the deep core online to support you as you really slowly rock side to side. And feel into that sense of how your right side needs to ground and root to support you as you twist. You can play with, as you're ready, lifting your whole left arm up, kind of rolling to your side like you're closing a book. And lifting left arm back up, waving the arm and opening your book. Think of moving from the inside out. Moving first, not moving first, feeling first, and moving second. The left arm over to catch you, slide to your belly, and then we're gonna roll back and forth from the belly to the back a few more times. Breathing deep as you're moving here too. Hydrating our fascial tissues as we compress them. Breathing into them, allowing more oxygen. When you feel complete with this, when you feel that urge for stillness, you'll settle into stillness in a sleeping frog shape, sliding your left knee out and up towards your hip. And most likely you're not gonna land in like the just right position. So give your body a little bit of time to refine it. Make sure that your shoulders feel comfortable, that your head and neck feel comfortable. And shimmy a little bit so that the front of your hips are shining down towards the floor. Feel the floor beneath you. And imagine the earth beneath the floor. Breathing into the support of the earth. Pull your breath into your sides, expanding and contracting. Start to check in with your glutes. Notice if there's any gripping, any holding or tension. Start to pull the breath down deep into the pelvic floor, allowing it to soften and open as you inhale. sink more and more into the support of the earth. Like you are nestling into warm sand or soft ground. One more conscious breath here. Staying really relaxed. Slide your leg back in line with your hip. Turn your forehead down. Take a moment to wag your tail a little bit. Get really soft and loose around the hips. And again, just kind of take a pause. Notice how you feel. And bend your knees. Legs should be pretty wide for this. Knees pretty wide. And just simply start to sway the feet, the shins, side to side. And notice, are you going through the motions? Are you fully present in your body for the experience? And see if you can really let your hips start to move. So as your feet and shins sway to the right, allow your left hip to lift a little bit. Allow your right hip to root down a bit. As you sway towards center, root a bit through the front of the pelvis, massaging across the abdomen. And then lean the feet and shins to the left, or root left hip down. Again, as you roll across center, feel into that sense of rooting, massaging internal organs. Breathe deep. Ready? We'll rest the legs back down, kind of walk them back in towards hips distance. Lift your head, stretch your right arm straight out in front of you. Slide your left hand in to frame your heart. Take a pause, rest your forehead down, and then bend your left knee. As you inhale, press your left knee down. As you exhale, lift the left knee, the thigh up. Roll your right ear to your right arm. Remember for this, when we're gonna stay on the side body a little bit. So we're balancing here, so slide your left hand in a little bit closer for balance. Left knee bent, and you can kind of angle, find just that good angle where you feel a yummy stretch through the quad, maybe into the hip flexors. And then let yourself roll forward and back, breathing into your sides. This is such a great part of the body to focus on opening. It's something that we neglect a lot. But you can think about your sides like the bindings of a book, and that the shape of the muscles that cross and make up your lateral line actually make little X's or crosses of the body. And when the sides get really tight, they're gonna pull on your front and your back body. So just giving side body some love is gonna open everything else up. And we're opening it in a holistic way. We're not just stretching the crap out of one area, we're opening it all together. feel that natural urge to reach your big toe down to the floor. You'll want to let your hips swivel open, especially if the hip flexors are kind of tight. You need to let your hips twist with you. And again, you can play here with either just kind of waving the knee forward and back a bit. You can lift and lower from the toes to the heel, articulating the ankle. Persevering without tension. Start to search for a place where you can be still, where you feel stable and supported in the body. It might take a little fidgeting to find. Ascension around your waist. You should feel an upward lift of the belly. And then when you're nice and grounded, float your left arm up. And let it release overhead in the most relaxed way possible. Bend the elbow. Arm can go in front, behind, whatever works. Check in when you get here. And you're also welcome when you get here, if you are having any trouble balancing or just feeling relaxed, if you bend your right knee and pull the shin back, that gives you a little bit more surface area to kind of balance on. So find what works. Breathe into your side body. Your left arm all the way up to the ceiling. Take it out in front of you and kind of off to the side so that it can catch you as you slowly roll to, actually we're rolling to our backs, aren't we? I usually go to my belly from there. So roll all the way to your back and shimmy around a little bit. Do anything that your body might be craving. Draw your knees in. Rock side to side. Stretch yourself out. And then I do want you to have support for your head for Shavasana. So you can either use a bolster if that felt really good, or you can come, I can bring you another blanket actually for your head. Does anybody want an extra blanket? You can hand in there. Just out here. If the bolster doesn't feel great, I can bring you a blanket. I like what Becca just did. That was perfect. She just wrapped herself up like a little baby in her blanket. There you go. Yeah, I was going to take us through one more little, we have to end with a happy baby pose, don't we? But we're going to do a half happy baby where we roll around. If you want to, if you're really comfortable or you've landed, that's totally fine too. As you come to your back, the knees will bend, your feet will plant. And you'll just reach up with your right hand for the pinky toe side of your right foot. Let your elbow tuck to the inside of your knee. Left arm out to T. Left foot can wiggle kind of wide. And you're just going to let yourself roll a little bit side to side. As you do this, feel into your back body. Like, again, imagine that you were on sand. And you're just kind of imprinting yourself. Rolling side to side. let your head roll a little bit. When you feel complete with that, you can release. Do anything that feels good to neutralize before you go to the other side. Hand to that pinky toe side of your foot. Let your head start to get really heavy here. Let your throat feel soft and open. Just as you feel complete, and see if there's anything else your body needs to feel supported. I can bring you another blanket or anything. What do you need? A blanket for your head?
I will take a blanket.
Yeah.
The bolster's just not quite good.
Yeah, that was just kind of over here.
Yeah.
Finding letting your legs extended or knees bent for that support. Feeling into what's beneath you, breathing into it, and settling into it. I'm going to come around with some aromatherapy and a little head rub. If anybody doesn't want that, just wave your hand in the air for me. So for Shavasana, we really want to just let go of any control over our body or our breath, and simply become a witness to each present moment. So you can continue to witness and be aware of the breath, to feel your body in space. So you feel the space within you. Without judgment, without any need to change or alter. one hand right over the center of your heart and on the sternum, and another hand on top. This time you can actually press the palms in a bit to the sternum, like you're anchoring your heart. Feel the beating of your heart through your palms.